Welcome to Gerald Johan van der Waals educational channel related with the book Sound in Form in a large book of the two volumes together, or two separate parts, the development of the word or the application of the word, both available at Trafford Publications. Both volumes are about the meaning of words, letters, sounds, and how you can change them into forms and meanings. The second book is more looking for where it comes from and where it leads to in the scripts and in the languages and areas where they have certain scripts and how they can be understood from the same theory foundation. And today I will focus upon something which is not in the book but is very interesting. It is the idea that the sounds and so on in words aren't in fact always aren't of course not the leading part in our language. And I realized that we not only use the same kind of things as Chinese scripts use. They use immediately visualizations of forms, of directions, of images, and they associate them with the direction where we have to, in which direction we have to think. I thought we didn't do that, so we based ourselves upon words, and the words have the directions in them. But sometimes, or maybe even more than I realized, we also use images as a kind of superficial direction already, and we add another word which shows which part of the image we should use to show which direction we need to go to. I will give you some examples like in the expressions like strong as an ox, or blind as a mole, or in Dutch de kletsen als een nikster. You can find emphases on words that say much more than what is underlying in the sounds alone. And this way of thinking is typical for language, but it is comparable to like what is already in the Chinese script immediately, and that is interesting, I think, and I will show you what it does in our thinking, and I will make it quite simple to show what it does in our thinking. So there are some rhetorical orientations there that not only deal with the underlying sounds but also with our direct visualization of the words, and it follows the lead of certain directions in them. But first compare to the Chinese. So you have in Chinese also, like for instance, we have the symbol of the ox, which immediately puts an image in our mind, that the one of the ox. Now, where does it come from? We have a visual association there, which we could associate with it, the ox in general. Or we could refer to where it comes from, the oracle bone method. I also analyzed this oracle bone method a lot, and I realized more or less how it works and where it comes from and how it led to the scripts. So nowadays I forgot this method a little bit, so we only associate this form and hardly know where the abstract forms come from. But I analyzed them as well, and I will tell you how I see it in this word particularly of the ox. So they write it down how you pronounce it in the Western letters of that you could read as new, but it's not pronounced as new. But it's interesting that they write it like this, and I will tell you that. So think that there's a visual intention. You have the water buffalo, and you have a tool there which drives the oxes into the land, and so you can see that these buffaloes helped you and guided you through the process. And this idea is important, but it's not the main idea. So if I go from the first translation into Western script, then I immediately recognize a couple of letters. So you have the N is the goal or the tool that you can use, and the E is the is always the sound of that you find an insertion of something that you can use immediately from that fits to the theory what you want to do with it, and you will do that with it as intended. And you in that case is the intention that goes into the end part. So that is, if you compare it to that symbol, it's there at the side. So it's affect. It's not the car or the yeah, the tool from in the on the land itself, but it is actually the helping, the guiding hand of the oxes. They don't lead, and it is a bit it needs a little bit effort that they guide you on the sides, and it also still needs effort. So the U in general says it is in progress, so it needs some effort to really go into the process itself. The second comparison that I need is of course also guiding it's guiding it's guiding structure in the script, and I always compare to the four seasons. The four seasons is also that square, as you can see. This square is also like how you yeah what you do on your land to make it fertile, and these four squares are also the four seasons. So the four different periods where you act differently. So if you see an abstract form there in the with a small arrow that you see there, then you see there's a need to have an interaction. Something is going against you, and you need indeed some effort to go deeper into it. The arrows are going down, so into the earth, so there is also a foundation here. I will find what I can do to make this process work. This is some of the associations that you can see and recognize in it. I just make it more visible, that it's helpful to understand the script completely based upon these associations. So it is this is the how it was pronounced. And this is of course the first filter, the background filter. But there's another filter that comes into it, and it's because it's not pronounced like new, but it's more pronounced like niao. So because of this ow, which is in just like or ow, you can hear them a lot in the Chinese script. It's always referring to the system of with the ng of combining, and with the ow of a larger cycle where it's depending upon. And the ox is also this astrological sign. So it's referring to a lot more things into the system, where you start into the system, into a new cycle, and it needs some effort, some human effort also, and some guidance there of the powers in nature of the other, which is the ox, to help you through the process so that everything works out fine. These are all the associations in just one symbol combined. In the English and the Dutch word, we simply say os or ox, and it's actually a very simple orientation. The O is the orientation in itself, and the S is like an effect. So you have an orientation to its utmost effect, let's say. The orientation itself makes the effect. And with the X instead of the S, it also turns out you have to make the maximum effect that you can get out of it. That's just more or less what is in the words. Doesn't say much how the ox looks like, but it fits if you start to design it a little bit better, but I'm not going to do that now, or not immediately. And these are combined with the second orientation. So the second word leads you to in fact it is the first word that you pronounce leads you to the second word, the os or the ox, and it says how you have to see the ox. So the ox then is an image, and something is leading you to the image. What part are we going to take out? So the word sterk or strong clearly goes again to the effect. The effect has to be maximized. In strong, it's more bundled together, but the effect has to be strong. So that is more or less the message underlying in the sounds themselves. So if I design it a little bit better, os or ox, into the sounds into forms, then I get this form more or less, which just slightly fits with the os or ox as the foundation. And then I will add the emphasized part, the sterk in Dutch. And I try to recognize everywhere sterk, so with the stronger edges at the side. And with the English as well, I only expressed it with the outer effect. The strong has to be at the edges, so not at edges as well. And it also says something about not the word strong, where the word strong is heading to. The word strong is not heading to an inner strength. No, it's going to the effect, and that has to be the strongest. So the goal is already there by associating two words together. The sounds themselves help a little bit. It directs you into that direction, but it's the suggestions all the time that are leading to it. Some of the suggestions are hidden into the letters, and you associate them more unconsciously. But it's of course also the images help them, of course, as well, and the associations are made onto the right positions. So ox or os is associated with the effort that we need to do, with the letters themselves, with the S or the X, lead us to the effect. So we hear that, so we know already we're going to the effect unconsciously, and we know with the word strong, the strength has to become. So we try to have strong effect. So have to stand firm and have a similar effect on others or on what we do. So the filters of the sounds have an effect on the word that we see. Maybe it's not exactly what we see, of course, as you can see here in the image, but it is just a representation of it. So we have a robust effect that is already embedded by combining these two words. The same with the Dutch word ekster. If we take out what we immediately notice most dominantly and express it into forms, we have this kind of domination of directions of ekster, and the ekster, of course, then easily is associated with the sound of the ekster, and it's dominating immediately because of this excess that you hear in these sounds. And kletsen has that word as well. So when you associate kletsen, especially in the most in the areas where you have the most effect, we associate it there. So the kletsen also in the sound again, where the effect is mostly, we add it there. So our direction, it goes very quickly to the right positions that also fit with the sounds. So the sounds are not really that important. We have a kind of visualization, but we also have a push towards a certain goal where we have to think to, and our mind will take out that which fits best. So there's a suggestion in it, which part shall we take out, and because of the combination of words, it makes it almost easier that our mind certainly goes into the right domination of features that we would like to express. And this is what language in general actually does. It tries to steer us the words, the dominant parts. Mostly it is, of course, not the sounds themselves, but the sounds direct you a little bit more unconsciously into a certain position where you have to associate further, and it will by associating a couple of words together, there will be some highlights that come out. Sometimes it teases you to change something, so there's a suggestion in it where we have to head to. It's not just the thoughts that are in there, the words themselves have a direction as well. These were some thoughts about words, sounds, and language. And if you want to read more about words and letters, okay, just check this book out on Trafford Publications. Anyhow, thanks for watching again. This was Gerald Johan van Waas again. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to hear more also ideas how you can associate letters, sounds, and so on. Because I have built out a theory very in a very large deepening of the theory, how you have to do that, and I deal with a lot of things, and I proved it by checking out a lot of earlier and previous theories, and also how it works in scripts and why certain letters in other scripts look differently. I can all find out why this is, and you can find that in my book. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye bye.